Hello, Shelley from Spin Cushions here. I'm going to show you how to make this pattern, Lazarev. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say that name, but anyway, from my Siren's Atlas collection. It's I like this one, quite solid, but we have some lacy aspects in the centre and around the edge, sort of break it up a bit. Nothing too complicated. I think you'll be able to handle it quite well. Right, let's get started. Okay, either with a magic circle or chain 4 joined into a loop. Begin. So round one, there are 8 treble stitches. Our first one is chain 3 starting chain. I don't actually like to do a starting chain. I like to do a false stitch instead, which you can find on my YouTube channel if you want to figure out how to do it. It's a bit fiddly when you're first starting out, but it's worth learning. I think it's much better than the starting chain. It stands out so much. So now I need to do 7 treble UK or double crochets US in the magic circle to join it up. So I'll just do all those and show you how we finish. Okay, so I have 8 stitches in total now. I'll just close off my magic circle and we're going to join with a slip stitch to our first treble. Now as we do this pattern, I'm just going to do it all in the same colour, but I'll let you know if you need to make any minor alterations to if you are going to change the colour at any point. But no matter what you're doing, if you're going on or finishing this colour, you end that with a slip stitch. Okay, our next round starts with chain 3 or our false stitch. Oops. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the next stitch. Then we're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, do a treble UK, double US in the next stitch. So that's our repeat. 3 chain, double or single, 3 chain, treble or double. I'll do all that and I'll come back and meet you here. Okay, so I've done my repeats. Now it's just a matter of joining up to my first stitch, which is my false stitch, or the top of your third chain of your starting chain. Gosh, it's not usually this difficult. I must have fluffed that false stitch a little bit. It's even trickier through the camera. There we go. Slip stitch. It's the same whether you're changing colours or not. Okay, the next round, round 3, starts with chain 3 or a false stitch. And then we're going to do 2 stitches, trebles UK, doubles US, in that same space that we joined with the slip stitch. 1, 2. Now we're going to skip this 3 chain space and we're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in that stitch, next stitch. We'll skip that 3 chain space again, and in the next stitch, this is our corner, we're going to do 3 stitches, 2 chain, 3 stitches, all in that one stitch. So it's trebles UK, doubles US. One, 2, 3, 2 chain, 1, 2, 3. So that's our repeat. We've basically got 1 stitch on the side and then 3 stitches, 2 chain, 3 stitches in each of these long stitches. So I'll do that and I'll come back and show you how to finish this round. Right, so I finished my repeats. The last instruction of this round is to do 3 stitches in the same space as our first stitch. So if we have a look at that first group of 3, that's my false stitch. You've got 2 stitches worked into this where it's a slip stitch. That's where we need to insert our hook to do the last 3 stitches of this round. Sorry, fumbling. 1, 2, 3. Right, now here's where things will start to get different if you're changing colours. If you're changing colours at the end of this round, you're going to chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to the top of your first stitch. But we're not going to change colours, we're going to keep going with the same colour, so we want to end up in the middle of the 2 chain space. So what I do is chain 1 and join with a stitch. I'm going to join with a double crochet UK or a single crochet US instead of a slip stitch. So I pull a loop to the front, yarn over and pull through both loops. So once that's done is that stitch takes the place of the second chain. So we've got 1 chain here and that stitch is the second chain. So when we start working, we're going to be working into this hole here over that joining stitch. Now if this method is new to you, I suggest you pop a bit of a scrap of yarn or use a stitch marker in that hole, because that will help you know where to do your first and last stitches of the next round. Okay, so let's get on with the next round. We are going to do chain 3 or a false stitch. We're going to do a treble UK WS over that joining stitch. So where that stitch marker is in that hole, that's where we do our stitch. So it's kind of like we're working over that second chain if it was a normal corner. Okay, so now we have to do 2 stitches in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to do 2 stitches in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now we're up to the corner, and in the corner we're going to do 2 stitches, 2 chain, 2 stitches. So 2 trebles UK, 2 doubles US. Chain 2 and then 2 more stitches in that same 2 chain space. Okay, so that's our repeats. I'll come back and show you how to finish off this round. Right, so I've done my repeats. Now the last instruction for this round is to do 2 stitches in the same space as our first stitches, which is where that scrap of yarn is. So that makes it nice and easy to know where. 1, 2. Now if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. We're not changing colours, so I'm just going to move my stitch marker up to this space. I'm going to chain 1 and again join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to that first false stitch or the top of your starting chain. Okay, right, the next round, round 5, quite simple. Chain 3 starting chain or false stitch. I'll do a treble UK WS in the next 7 stitches. Now don't forget that first one there. Okay, where we joined with the stitch, that's where we do our first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, now the next instruction is to do a front post treble, UK WS, around the next 2 stitches at the same time. So normally when you do a front post stitch, you just do it around 1 post, but I want you to do a front post stitch around 2 stitches at the same time. That'll help bring in some of the waviness you might be finding with this pattern. So there we go. Then we do a treble or double in the next 7 stitches. Don't miss that first one after that. There. 1, 6, 7, And our corner this time is just one stitch, chain 2, one stitch, chain 2. There we go. So that's our repeats. I'll do that all the way around and I'll show you how to finish off this round. Okay, so all my repeats are done. We just need to finish off this round by doing one stitch in the same space as our first stitches, which is where that stitch marker is. Nice and easy. Now, if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch, but where I'm not, so first thing I'm going to move that stitch marker up. And I'm going to, if I can get that out of the way, chain 1, join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. If I can find it. Righty-ho. Okay, the next round, round 6, we're going to do a double crochet over that joining DC, or SC. So where that stitch marker is, that's when we do our first stitch. Then we do a double crochet UK, single crochet US, the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do a treble in the next 7 stitches. I'm sorry, not a treble, a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now our corners in this round. One stitch, double crochet UK, single crochet US, chain 2 and another stitch. So that's that round, and that should get rid of, you can see these ones are quite wavy, but this one here now is quite flat. So I'll work my way around and show you what to do next. Right, so that is my repeats done for round 6. I just need to finish off this round by doing one stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. If you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch to your first stitch. I'm not, so I'm going to chain 1 and join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. That's the hole there. I should have moved that stitch marker through. Okay, it's probably most useful to do when you are, sorry, I've just realised I've put that in the wrong spot. Let's try that again. Yes, when your corners are a double crochet, single crochet round, it is harder to find that stop spot to place your first and next stitches of your next round. So there we go, I've chained 1. And now I'm going to join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to that first stitch. Okay, so same principle as before, it's just we've got shorter stitches. Okay, now the next round is quite easy, but you just need to pay attention near the middle of the side. So we chain 3, starting chain or false stitch. Now 4 times we're going to do this mini repeat. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch and do a treble crochet UK, double crochet US in the next stitch. Now just don't get confused, so that's the hole, that's where you joined up, that's the first stitch, that's the stitch we're skipping, this is the one we're working into. So that's one of the mini repeats. Skip 1, that's 2, that's, oops. That's 3, that is 4. Now we're going to chain 1, skip that 1 chain space, and we're going to do 4 of those mini repeats again, but this time we're starting with a treble or double. chain 1. That's our repeat this time. Skip 1, chain 1, that's 2, that's 3, oops, that's 4. Now we can see we've got 1 stitch left on this side. That's the 2 chain space, so that's good. I'm skipping that stitch. In this corner we're going to do a treble UK WS, chain 3 this time, and a treble UK WS in that space. That's our corner this time. So there you go. That is our repeat. I'll come and show you how to finish off this round. Right, so my repeats are all done. Now all I need to do is do a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that little yarn marker is hanging out. Now, if you're changing colours, chain 3 and join with a slip stitch to the top of your next stitch. If you're not changing colours, slightly different to what we've been doing before, because this time our chain spaces in the corners are chain 3s. So we're going to chain 1, put that stitch marker in, and this time we are going to join with a half treble UK, half double US. Just need a little bit extra length. So I do a yarn over first before I insert my hook into the top of my false stitch or your chain 3. Pull a loop to the front, yarn over, pull all 3. So if I pop that down, hopefully you can see that that puts my hook where it needs to be in the middle of what would be a 3 chain space. If I was attaching a new colour, I would attach it in the middle of that new 3 chain, on a different 3 chain space. But now I'm in the right spot, so my next stitches are going to be worked over that joining stitch, just like we've been doing all the way along. It's just a little bit larger this time. Okay, so this round is made up of half trebles UK, half doubles US. Now you can do a false half treble, but it's really fiddly, so I don't even bother with that. I'm just going to do chain 2 as our starting chain with that one. I'm going to do a half treble over that joining treble where that stitch marker is. I'm going to do 9 times this little repeat. So a half treble in the next stitch and a half treble in the 1 chain space. So basically we're doing a half treble in every stitch and every 1 chain space, and our corners are 2 half trebles, chain 2, 2 half trebles. So I'll work my way all the way around, come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, I've worked my way all the way around. All that's left to do is to do 2 stitches in the same space as our first stitches, which is where that stitch marker is. Nice and easy to see this time around. And because this is the last round, we are going to chain 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of our second chain of our starting chain. And that, my friends, is that. We'll just snip off your yarn and you can sew in your ends. Okay, now these 2 block, this one's been blocked, this one hasn't been, but as you can see, hopefully, it will be slightly larger than this one. This is made with Bendigo Woolen Mills 8-ply cotton. This is made with Cascade, Ultra Pima cotton, which are equivalent yarns. You're meant to use the same hook size with them all and everything, but because they are slightly different, you will get a slightly different size if you use different yarns. But that's easily fixed if you are mixing and matching this with another square and you need it to change the size a little bit. If you want to make it a little bit smaller, just do this last round as double crochet UK, single crochet US. If you need it to be a little bit larger, you can either stretch it out, block it to size, or make that last round trebles UK, doubles US, or add a round of double crochets UK, singles US. It's up to you. So there you go. That is, even though I'm probably saying it wrong, Lazarev from my Siren's Atlas collection. For more crochet fun, make sure you go visit spincushions.com, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.